Nobody chasing the truth.
I have to address the Kenny Pickett situation. You know, I love the Steelers. I don't like them. I love them. So this is just not an outside perspective from somebody that can't stand the Steelers. But Kenny Pickett, the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted you in the first round, pick number 20 in the 2022 draft. They gave you the keys to the Ferrari. They handed it to you. They want you to be the best quarterback in the franchise of their history. They want you to be better than Ben Roethlisberger. They want you to be better than Terry Bradshaw. They want you to be the best quarterback they've ever had. And time in and time out, you've proven that you're mediocre at best. Not only are you mediocre, you're brittle, to say the least. Let's go over your injury history from the time that you were in college. September 21st, 2019, you had a shoulder injury against UCF and you missed the next game. October 10th, 2020, you had an ankle sprain. During your overtime loss to Boston College, you missed the next two games. In the NFL, October 16th, 2021, you had a concussion grade 1 at Tampa Bay. At this point in the NFL, if you even get donged on your head, it's a concussion 1, so I'm not buying it. The concussion was against Tampa Bay. Then on December 11th, 2022, you had another concussion grade 1 against Baltimore. Now, these are my favorite injuries coming up of Kenny Pickett. He had a leg shin bruise against the Bears. He had a leg shin bruise against the Texans on October 1st, 2023. A leg shin bruise. A bruise. And you came out of the game. Brittle Kenny Pickett. Every single time he gets touched, he comes out of the game. Then, on October 29th, 2023, you had a chest rib bruise, another bruise against the Jaguars, came out of the game. So poor Kenny here, he's coming out of the game when he has bruises. Wow, that really inspires your teammates. That really magnifies that Steeler toughness, the hard-nosed, blue-collar toughness that the Steelers are known for. And you're really winning the locker room over with your physical and mental toughness at this point, I'll tell you. So you came out of 2 games in a row with bruises. Not breaks, not sprains, not tears, bruises. Then on December 3rd, 2023 was your most serious injury. You had ankle surgery. That's your injury history. So not only does Kenny Pickett not perform on the field, he's injured often and comes off the field on a lot of occasions because somebody touched him and he was bruised. He's 14-11 in his career as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Now these stats get better and better. 2022, his first year as a starter, he only played 13 games. So what did he miss? 4 games? Or he didn't start, later on in the season? It doesn't matter. He still missed 4 games, bottom line. He had 389 attempts for 245 completions. He had 2,404 yards. He had 7 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns in 13 games. Let this sink in. Kenny Pickett. Let this sink into your brain when you think you're entitled to this job, and you don't show up to media after the playoff game, and then you're mad because you're not playing against the Buffalo Bills. Kenny, what have you done to earn the job? Why do you think you're entitled to the job? What have you done to earn it? They gave you the keys. Here's the Lamborghini. Take the job. The Steelers would love for you to stand up and be that guy and take that job and take the keys and be that Big Ben and be that Terry Bradshaw and be that type of player for the Steelers. They would love that. You act like you're buried on the bench somewhere and you're from a small school and you're not getting an opportunity. You're acting like you're Tony Romo. I mean, I'm a big critic of Romo when it comes to his play-by-play. But that man sat on the bench for years, learned the system, got his opportunity, and made the most out of it. You do not have to wait. You jump right in, you get your opportunity, you get the job handed to you, and time again you prove not only are you brittle, but you can't play. And not only are you brittle physically, mentally you come across as being brittle. You had 7 touchdowns in 2022 with 9 interceptions. You averaged 6.2 yards a pass. Let that sink in. 6.2 yards a pass. Isaiah Pacheco, the running back from the Chiefs, when he played the Buffalo Bills in the last playoff game, he averaged more yards per carry running the football than you do throwing the football. Let's get into 2023. Kenny Pickett played 12 games. Kenny Pickett played 12 games in 2023. Again, he missed 5 games. The brittle Kenny Pickett, physically and mentally. And he has nobody to blame but himself for people on the outside thinking this about you, Kenny. Because these bruises, like, you've left games over bruises, not breaks, not sprains. Then now your mental is being called into question because they gave Mason Rudolph, after he saved your season, the start against Buffalo. And you seem like a little kid that didn't get your toy at the store and you're all mad. And you have an obligation as a first round draft, as any player, whether you're a free agent or whatever, if they call you for media, to be there and do the media. You need to be a professional. So now you're coming across like you're mentally fragile also, which, if I had to bet, you are, because mental and physical toughness, they go hand in hand. So if you're coming out of the game with bruises, that means you're mentally weak. So Kenny Pickett in 2023 played 12 games. Pretty much the same season. 324 attempts, 201 completions, 2,070 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 4 picks. Kenny, you do realize these numbers. You have the best weapons you've ever played with. George Pickens, Austin, Najee Harris, the other running back, can't think of his name off the top of my head right now. Pat Freiermuth, offensive line, the greatest defense you've ever had behind you, ever, in your whole playing career. Pop Warner, high school, college, NFL, you've only been on one NFL team. And you've thrown for 6 touchdown passes in 12 games. In 12 games, you threw for 6 TDs and 4 picks. Your numbers are absolutely atrocious. Again, 6.4 yards a passing attempt. A good day for Kenny Pickett in the NFL so far has been 1 touchdown and 175 yards. He's putting up Pop Warner numbers. He's putting up literally Pop Warner numbers in the NFL with the greatest weapons he's ever played with the greatest defense that he's ever played with the greatest supporting cast, meaning coaches, and taking their time to make sure he understands the concepts, where to throw the ball, what not to do, when to do it. So far, it's been a complete failure. Complete, utter failure. Mike Tomlin said the other day that going into next season, 2024, will be the biggest season of his life, and obviously it's going to be. I don't think that anything is really going to change drastically from this year to next year with Kenny Pickett. That's just my opinion. I hope that I'm completely wrong. And Mike Tomlin is going to come out and say all the right things because that's what a good coach does. He doesn't need to add outside pressure to a player that they want. Let this sink in, Kenny. The organization wants you to be an all-pro. Tomlin wants you to be 10 times better than Roethlisberger ever could be in his entire life. The organization, the Rooneys, that's what they want. Whose fault is it that your play has been lackluster. It's yours, Kenny Pickett. For whatever the reasons, it doesn't matter. The stats doesn't lie. I'm not Ryan Clark. I just don't make things up. I'm not basing this off skin color and gender and stupid things. These are the statistics that I'm basing this off of. This is the impression that people have of you. When you come off the field for bone bruises and for bruises to your leg, you sound like a little kid in the park that fell off a swing. The ankle surgery, okay, obviously 1,000% you're right. Sprained ankle, there's not much you could do there. I mean, you could shoot it up, you could play, I don't know. So I'll give you that one. But when you're coming off the field with bone bruises, I have to question your mental and physical toughness. I really do. I mean, it's as simple as that. The Steelers want you to be that guy, Kenny. They want you to take the reins, go absolutely insane, be that Josh Allen, be that Patrick Mahomes, be that Lamar Jackson. And it's just not happening. Think about that. 32 teams passed on Lamar Jackson, a Heisman Trophy winner that had an off season going into the draft. I mean, it's college. Sometimes you're going to graduate guys and coaches change and offensive linemen leave. And so the guy has one down year and he falls to the number 32 pick in the draft. Could you imagine if Lamar Jackson was a Pittsburgh Steeler right now? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine the pandemonium at Acrisure State? I can't even say it because it just brings me to tears. I'll call it Heinz Field. Could you imagine Lamar Jackson if he was the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback from day one instead of being in Baltimore? Could you imagine where this organization would be? It's like mind-blowing. For all the money that these NFL teams waste and the way the contracts are slated now, so, it's not like back in the day where you're going to lose $80 million because of a first-round draft pick. They're not really getting paid that much money. It's not a lot of money compared to back in the day. The 31 other GMs that passed over Lamar Jackson for him to end up as a Baltimore Raven should be fired immediately. So I know that, Lamar came out at a different time in the draft, but here's my point. You didn't give Lamar Jackson a shot, but we went with the fragile Kenny Pickett. Was Kenny Pickett a Heisman Trophy winner? Did Kenny Pickett ever have 50 touchdowns in a season? Did Kenny Pickett ever run for 1,000 yards in college and pass for 2,000 yards like Lamar Jackson? Never. And he never will from this point. That's never going to happen in the NFL. So here's my advice to you, Mr. Pickett. I'm sure you'll just chalk this up to a hate. 2024, anybody that tells the truth, stats, truth, facts, is just a hater, is just chasing clout. But I'm going to give you some advice. The city of Pittsburgh, its fans, the Rooney family, the Pittsburgh coaches, we all want you to be that guy. Trust me, I do. We all want you to be better than Big Ben. We all want you to be better than Terry Bradshaw. We all want you to be 20 times better than Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. We want you to be the best quarterback that ever existed. And when that doesn't happen with your play on the field, it's not any of our fault. It's not our fault. It's your fault. You didn't make the situation better. Forget the rumors that you were unhappy that you didn't play in a playoff game. That's understandable. If you were mad, I get it. But then you doubled down, you made the situation worse, and you didn't show up for media day, when the players are leaving. Do you really think that wins over your teammates in the locker room? What it shows me, and what it shows the locker room, is mental fragility. They don't owe you anything. You're not guaranteed anything. Just because you're a first-round draft pick, you're not entitled to the job. And you come off with this entitlement, and it's sickening. Because The city of Pittsburgh, they're about hard work. Blue collar work. Come to work, keep your mouth shut, give it all you got. Show up when things are bad, show up when things are good. You can't just pick and choose what you're going to show up to. You know, if you want to be Antonio Brown, if you want to be Le'Veon Bell, if you want to be, who's the other idiot, Rashard Mendenhall. If you want to be these types of divas, you're not going to last long in Pittsburgh, Mr. Pickett. It's going to be over before it started. So, toughen up mentally and physically.